alleging that Wendy Williams is going to be writing a tell-all book in regards to Diddy and his escapade. Jaguar Wright said on a recent YouTube video that Diddy is not only in London but in hospital and that bat is worn out.
Out more than me.
At the time
Nobody. No, still.
Yes, to this day.
Still. Listen to me. I don't give a how I feel about you. For me to have bad feelings about someone and not acknowledge art and its greatness or at its finest is hate.
In California, when Mace went to basketball game, they told him, we want Puff. I believe that women have been coming out, but nobody was listening. You understand? Nobody wanted to. I seen Trump, Diddy, Al Sharpton, and Wendy Williams in the same room having a conversation.
Girl, hold on to your wigs because today's tea is scalding hot. The streets are buzzing with news that the Diddy is in serious trouble. Hospitalization and begging for mercy kind of trouble. That's right, the music mogul who's been on top for decades is now pleading for a break. What could have happened to make this powerhouse lose his cool? This story is wilder than your last Friday night. With Diddy reportedly getting jumped in the hospital and begging for mercy, it's like a juicy reality show plot. But it's real life. We're about to spill all the tea on what really happened to Diddy and why he's singing a different tune. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
While she was asleep, no snacking on his bitch, killing people cats. And guess what? They wouldn't give her the restraining order. They just told her to stay away from Beyonce and work for somebody else. Guess what? She's having a hard time finding work too. Which is interesting because she's a brilliant musician and she was trained at the esteemed Berklee College of Music. Handpicked by my very good friend, Terry Lynn Carrington, Dr. Terry Lynn Carrington, who put together Beyonce's entire female band, which was Matthew Knowles' idea because he couldn't get Beyonce to stop people. Guess you didn't know your daughter well enough because she just started f***ing all the girls. Impulse control issues? I don't know. I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston. Why did that house burn up? Who goes to their childhood house for a visit and the shit goes up in flames?
That was very weird. The next day, within a week?
And no, the next day.
The next day.
And still, no real investigation on how the house just went up in flames.
Man.
I guess they paid y'all off. Like they paid y'all off for that Astro World.
So, let me ask you.
Texas politics.
Yeah, Texas politics, man. It's that right there. We're gonna talk about the episode, but for right now, I just got to get your take on when we see a Killer Mike win 3 Grammys
and get arrested immediately after because Jay-Z paid somebody up just so he couldn't have a good night. You, Sean.
Hey, man.
Weirdo. I don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me. Ever. All I do is frustrate you in AI. You can't quantify me. You can't even control your wife. You gonna handle a bitch like me. You can't even control that goofy bitch. You should have did a better job. Maybe she wouldn't have had to lose her mind on Kathy. Cause you ain't protecting you. Think about Claudia Jordan right now. Claudia Jordan don't ever mention my mother name. She mentioned it yesterday. Talking about why people are afraid to come forward. You mean like you? You was Diddy girl. Corey was Jay-Z girl. Why don't you claim your friend? Claudia.
So, Jack, when you say...
When I say Corey, I'm talking about Kathy White.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was about to ask.
Jay-Z's pregnant
Jay-Z's
mistress,
yeah.
who died of an imaginary aneurysm, just like the woman who was best friends with Kim and Kimura, who wrote the book Bling.
All right, let's dive into the details of what happened with Diddy. The streets are buzzing, and everyone's trying to figure out how the mighty have fallen. So what really put the scene in the hospital? Word is...
he alleges that, Diddy told him personally that he had sex with Usher. And when you look at the lawsuit, even though they got Usher's name redacted, you could tell who it is because they describe him as the guy that performed at the Super Bowl.
Right.
So, I mean, we all know who that is, but how you feel about that, man?
But I mentioned that earlier, that he said about Stevie J. The Usher part, that's a touchy situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a certain feeling, and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know. Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a fellatio. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know, and a lot of more people know, didn't do you right when you was at Diddy camp. Y'all put it together.
And what you mean by Diddy camp?
Remember? He was on one of the talk shows, the white guy with the curly hair. What's his name? The white guy with the curly hair. And he said, yo, would you send your son to Diddy camp? And Usher said, no. Ask him why he won't send him to Diddy camp. But yet and still you praise him.
Damn, man, and you said that, I know you can't go into detail, but you said that it was a situation where Diddy sent him to the hospital?
Let Usher explain that to you. Let Usher mama explain that to you. And the hospital was in Scarsdale, New York.
Diddy was out at a swanky LA nightclub when things took a wild turn. He got into a heated argument with some unknown individuals, possibly rival music execs or old enemies, but the details are still unclear. Things escalated quickly. His security lost track of him for a bit, and that's when it all went down. He was cornered in a back alley behind the club. This wasn't just a scuffle, it was a full-on beatdown with multiple attackers going at him. Sources say he took some serious hits, bruised ribs, a black eye, and possibly broken bones. It was bad enough that someone called 911, and he was soon whisked away in an ambulance, looking like he'd been through a heavyweight match. Now, why did this happen? The rumor mill is spinning with theories. Some say it's connected to the recent lawsuits against him, where he's been accused of some pretty serious stuff. Others suggest it could be payback from someone he's crossed in the industry. Given Diddy's history of making enemies while climbing to the top, it might be revenge, a bad deal, or a personal beef we don't know about.
Puff had different phases of his life that y'all don't understand. And let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. You understand? First you got Puff Daddy, who had Daddy's house and the parties and things like that. Then you had Puff. You understand? Then you had Diddy. Then you had Brother Love, and then Love. I had Puff around the stage when he was Puff Daddy and Puff and some of Diddy. Not the new Diddy that they gave the diddler and everything like that. So he ain't the guy, he wasn't the guy that y'all see now back then when he was in Harlem. You understand? He was the guy that our crew chased down the street because he was trying to be a part of it and he ran. You understand? We brought him back, beat the shit out of him, hit him in the head with cake, spoon, with champagne and all the other shit like that. He was wanted to be a part of us. He was the one who used to beg, don't go to the party, please, please, I'm on my way, so he could walk in the club with us. I learned from his pop from one of the biggest gangsters in Harlem, New York Freddie, right? The police said they went to New York Freddie's house in Mount Vernon and he had stacks of $100 bills 6 feet high in the whole basement. That's how much money he had. He was the one who started Russell Simmons. They won't tell y'all this story. He was the one who started Russell Simmons and them into the music business because he had a record label first that Russell Simmons used to work for. So now, New York Freddie want to talk to Big Gene. One of his lieutenants back in the day, if you can see his story, his name was Omar. Omar was our OG from 112th Street, 114th Street. They used to come around with us. They used to love the food I used to cook because I'm a hell of a cook. You know what I'm saying? So now, Omar said, yo, New York Freddie want to talk to you, Gene. I told him he used to bodyguard Puff because he want to talk to Puff and tell Puff the real story about his father. So I said, yeah, all right. So I'm like, New York Freddie. I knew my history. I knew what New York Freddie was about. So I went and took a meeting with New York Freddie. He said, New York Freddie said to me, he said, yo, man, I've been trying to get in touch with Puff. Russell Simmons, none of them would take my calls. It's all good. He said, I want to tell Puff the true story about his father. And I said, yo, all right, okay, you know, what's up? You're gonna listen to those guys. You understand? So New York Freddie said, Puff father sold some drugs to one of their undercover guys. You understand? They arrested him, but they had cops on the payroll to, you know, see what you about. He said they brought him the tape and the written confection that Puff father signed. So I was like, yo, he said, we gave him $10,000. It was a New York City cop. He worked for them. He said, we gave him $10,000. Puff father said that he only told because he had a wedding to go to, which I thought was hilarious. You understand? This is coming from New York Freddie. So he said that I wanted to talk to Puff, but he wouldn't take my calls, he wouldn't see me. He said, I want to let him know that I told the guy, y'all got to get rid of him.
Whatever the reason, it's clear Diddy's in serious trouble right now. The hospital is no luxury resort, and from what we're hearing, he's not just hurting physically. This incident has rattled him deeply. Those close to the situation say Diddy's been unusually quiet since his admission. No social media posts, no public statements, just silence. That's not like the Diddy we know, always ready with a slick comment or a power move. Instead, whispers are circulating that he's been asking for protection and practically begging for mercy from whoever's after him, as if he's afraid this might be just the beginning of something worse. And that's causing a lot of concern, if someone can reach Diddy like this who's safe in the industry. So, we're left with more questions than answers. Who attacked Diddy? Why? And what's next? This story isn't over yet. Things have shifted and Diddy is on the defense for maybe the first time in his life. Stay tuned, because this tea is far from finished brewing.
So difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it, I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
This is a game we in. We in a fucking hustle. We in a grind. Everybody ain't 50 Cent. Everybody ain't Puff. Everybody ain't Jay-Z. You gotta stick with a nigga. Grind with a nigga. You gotta do your job. Whatever your record is, if I was a promo man, whatever record you give me, I'ma get played. Cause my tongue gonna move that quick. I'ma get the shit done whether niggas like it, love it, hate it.
Monster. At this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Yeah, shout out D. Haven. He actually hit us up, wanted to tell this story.
You need to talk to D. Haven.
We need to talk to him.
I told you that last year when I put you on the phone with him.
You did.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the death of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone. They know what happened. And yet, they had to sit there and have that conversation like they didn't know who did it. Think of the power of that moment. Think about Claudia Jordan right now. Claudia Jordan don't ever mention my mother name. She mentioned it yesterday. Talking about why people are afraid to come forward. You mean like you? You was Diddy girl. Corey was Jay-Z girl. Why don't you claim your friend? Claudia.
So, Jack, when you say...
When I say Corey, I'm talking about Kathy White.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Jay-Z's pregnant mistress, who died of an imaginary fucking aneurysm. Just like the woman who was best friends with Kim and Kimura, who wrote...
Girl, you know Diddy's been living the high-flying life. But lately he's been in hotter water than a teabag. Let's rewind and spill the tea on why this music mogul's been making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Remember when Diddy was all about the beats and the bling? Those days are long gone, honey. The streets are saying his empire is starting to crumble, and it's not just because of his fashion choices. We're talking serious allegations that have everyone's jaws on the floor. His ex, Cassie, came out with heavy accusations of abuse and other wild claims. The internet buzzed like a beehive after that bombshell. And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, more women came forward with their own stories. It's like Pandora's box, but instead of hope, it's full of scandals. But wait, there's more. Diddy's also caught up in legal drama unrelated to his love life. We're talking lawsuits, investigations, and enough paperwork to wallpaper a mansion. Fans are sniffing around his businesses, and let's just say they're not impressed. All this mess has people looking at Diddy sideways. One day you're on top of the world, and the next, you're trending for all the wrong reasons. His image has taken more hits than a punching bag at a boxing gym, and it's affecting his business too. Brands are fleeing faster than you can say bad boy for life. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion, but with designer labels and million-dollar contracts.
You can't go to the boss because the boss is fucking you. And the boss's boss don't get no fuck. Can't go to the authorities. They're all bought and paid for. You could try to get a special prosecutor, but they'll just pay somebody to reassign him to another case. Where the fuck you go when you get fucked over by the industry? Nowhere. That's where you go nowhere, which is where people like me step in. You right, I go to Diddy parties to walk mother out, cause ain't nobody stopping me when I come.
So let me ask you, because I look at Gabriel Union, and when you mention things like Jay-Z's time is coming for him, then I look at Beyonce. And I say that, women do have
that country album, and any of you that buy that shit, stupid as shit.
You don't give it no
trap
credit.
music with goddamn a holster and a hat.
But she remade Jolene.
That bitch. I'm gonna tell you the song she should have remade. It's a hit. It would have done great for her. She should have tried it on. Tammy Wynette. Classic. Stand by your man. Don't act like you don't know that hell. Remake that. Stand by that. That's a real country hit. Jolene, nice. But it has a ring to it. Stand by your man. Yeah. Whoops. And disrespect you with other like Kathy Coriana White.
All right, well, let's do it like
who was
this.
actually carrying his baby while you was faking it. Why your husband don't want to put his seed inside of you? He put it in everybody else? Wild in this world, yo.
It's funny, you open up Beyonce's internet, it just gets weird.
Beyonce's internet.
That's what we're calling
that
it.
belongs to the devil. Unless you calling that the devil, she ain't nothing but an employee.
Oh.
And half of which dumbass bitch.
So, it's funny that it's crazy you say these
Why
things.
don't nobody want to accept that bitch bitch?
I think
she went and killed the girl Cats.
Okay.
A girl went to court and charged her with extreme witchcraft. She was hitting.
Chilla, the public's been having a field day. Social media is lit up like Times Square on New Year's Eve, with everyone and their mama chiming in. Some folks are shocked, others say they saw it coming, and some are just here for the drama. But here's the real tea. All this controversy might be why Diddy's in the situation he's in now. When you're on top, there's always someone trying to bring you down. With all these scandals, it's like he handed out invitations to his own takedown party. So now Diddy's in the hospital, begging for mercy. Is it karma catching up with him? Or is there more to this story than meets the eye? One thing's for sure, Diddy's fall from grace isn't just a stumble, it's a full-on tumble down the Hollywood hills.
training or they just told her to stay away from Beyonce and work for somebody else. Guess what? She's having a hard time finding work too. Which is interesting because she's a brilliant musician and she was trained at the esteemed Berklee College of Music. Handpicked by my very good friend, Terry Lynn Carrington, Dr. Terry Lynn Carrington, who put together Beyonce's entire female band, which was Matthew Knowles' idea because he couldn't get Beyonce to stop people. Guess you didn't know your daughter well enough because she just started all the girls. Impulse control issues? I don't know. I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston. Why did that house burn up? Who the fuck goes to their childhood house for a visit and the shit goes up in flames?
That was very weird. The next day, within the week?
No, the next day.
The next day.
And still, no real investigation on how the house just went up in flames.
Man.
I guess they paid y'all off. Like they paid y'all off for that Astro World.
So, let me ask you.
Texas politics.
Yeah, Texas politics, man. It's that right there. We're gonna talk about the episode, but for right now, I just got to get your take on when we see a Killer Mike win 3 Grammys
and get arrested immediately after because Jay-Z paid somebody to up just so he couldn't have a good night. You, Sean.
Hey, man.
Weirdo. I don't get no what you got in your head, that Neuralink. You'll never outthink me. Ever. All I do is frustrate your AI. You can't quantify me. You can't even control your wife. You gonna handle a bitch like me. You can't even control that goofy bitch. You should have done a better job. Maybe she wouldn't have had to lose her mind on Kathy. Cause you ain't protecting you. You're protecting her. Wonder why?